Hey there, welcome back to Skirmish Miniature Gaming. Luke here, and we've got some Kings of War for you. Unfortunately, Alan not able to be in the intro with me, but he has filmed this with me today, as you will see when you get into the video. But we're going to be doing a watch and learn for you today on Kings of War, just to introduce you all to the rules, to how the game works. Great, fun, separate rule set. Very different in the way it plays to, say, a Warcry, but similar in the way it uses PowerPoints and things like that. It was a great game. We had tons of fun playing it. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something from this. Please do share the video around, and also throw a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And obviously, if you are a rules veteran for Kings of War Vanguard, let us know in the comments if we've got anything wrong, but obviously nicely kind of point out where we might have done something wrong, or just if we've missed out rules or something that you think are worth pointing out to newcomers. Please do let us know. But otherwise, we hope you enjoy this one, because we certainly did, and we will see you there.
Okay then, so Kings of War, watch and learn, here we go. So we got the 3x3 mats set up. This is by playmats.eu. Tried to create as less of the shine on the mat as we kind of can, but these mats do let off a bit of shine when you've got the studio lighting on it. So it's a bit hard to, hopefully it's still quite easy to distinguish everything. But yeah, we've got the 3x3 table setup. That's what you're playing your Kings of War Vanguard on. We've got our two warbands built. I think we've got equal numbers on now. Yeah, 5 and 5, I believe. Yeah. I'm going to be using the Ratkin. I was going to be using the Northern Alliance. This is War Cradle, Gloomsburg terrain, really nice terrain. Great for Malifaux, Kings of War, Warcry, whatever you want to kind of use it for, or your full-size games of Sigmar and that kind of thing. Great for fantasy terrain. We picked up the Kings of War Vanguard objective terrain. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 on the far side, which are going to be our objectives for this first mission in the actual, or quest in the actual rulebook. I think there are about 8 to choose from maybe in the rulebook. The full-size rulebook that you can purchase. If you want to get hold of the rules for Kings of War Vanguard, they're free online though, including the extra warband faction rules in a separate PDF there as well, and also the fact.
So many factions as well.
There are a lot of factions, yeah. And the great thing about this game that we'll say straight off the bat, for example, I've put some of my Skaven from my Warcry Skaven onto square bases, so going back to Warhammer Fantasy.
if we buy a bunch of square bases, we could do goblins, we could do abyssals.
Oh, definitely, yeah, easily.
You could use those the flying little demons from Warcry.
Yeah, you could, quite easily actually, like Abyss for Abyssal. Yeah,
I've seen all sorts.
There's plenty of stuff. If you guys, a lot of you guys will be Warcry fans, probably watching this. You can quite easily turn some of your spare models into Kings of War Vanguard. I do believe they are slowly releasing their own models for each faction, and quite a few of the factions already have their own models. And from last I saw, they're also planning on releasing a start collecting set, two faction box set with the rules and 2 factions. I think it was Basilians and I want to say Abyss maybe. Chaos Abyss, but we'll have to wait and see with that. At the moment there is no starting box set, but you can get, for a lot of the common factions, the most popular factions, you can get a start collecting box set with the starter models that you need, and it comes with the cards, the faction specific and model specific cards for the fighters.
They're quite good value for money as well.
They really are good value, yeah.
You get quite a few figures for your
they certainly are.
dollar.
And then, like me and Al just said, there's these separate objective packs that you can get, which definitely make a difference, I think. You know, if add a bit of theme to the battlefield. You obviously will need to get hold of your own mats, 3x3 like we said, is what you're meant to be playing it on. We're only playing 100 points today, which is what they class as a smaller game, because we wanted to show you the rules, make it simpler for ourselves as well to just try out the core rules, the base rules. So we're not using a spellcaster or a commander, which is what they suggest for your first game. So then the warbands for this game, Ratkin on the left hand side, who, if you're a Warhammer fan, basically Skaven. Really, the lore behind them is pretty much just that they are the slaves of Mantica. So this fantasy realm is called Mantica, hence Mantic Games. All of these different factions lie within. Kind of a similar fantasy setting to that of most generic things, really. There's not much difference in the story per se, but if you want to check out the lore and things, I've read a little bit up on it. not going to go deep into that now, but it's quite cool. But the Ratkin, like I say, they're basically the slaves of most factions, especially the Chaos factions. They kind of mine for different factions and things like that. But a lot of them broke away and became their own kind of underground rebel faction, if you like, which is really cool. I do like the idea of that. They are keyword chaos, so when technically in campaigns, things like that, they can take chaos allies and whatnot. But my list, and basically what you have, you in a 100-point small game, you don't have to take a commander, whereas in a 200-point list you do. For now, I'm just going to take you through how the 100-point smaller list works. So you've got the, you have to take at least 2 warriors. In this case, Al didn't have any warriors ready, so we've got 2 grunts for you instead, at least. It doesn't say to use grunts. My guess is probably because when you have 100 points, there aren't many models, and I think grunts die easier from what I've seen. But
Northern Alliance have a special ability that they can take an extra large model, one more than usual, the scenario would ordinarily allow, which means I've got 2 large models, and we thought that would make a fairly
even
balanced.
And I mean, it is just a small watch and learn game for us to learn the rules and for you guys to learn the rules. So we figured it's just all
we'll
for fun anyway.
We'll have 4 war bands next time.
Yeah, basically. So probably twice the model count, etc. But for me, I've got 3 warriors, so meeting that 2 minimum requirement. These are just Skaven, generic Skaven warriors, or Ratkin warriors in this case. So then for the Ratkin list, I have at least 2 base Ratkin warriors. 4 I've taken for this scenario, purely because it is 100 points and they're easier to fit in the list. So warriors compared to grunts are kind of the lowest thing you can choose and tend to be a bit cheaper. But grunts don't tend to get flesh wounded, they just tend to die outright, so they're a bit easier to kill. Then if you take at least, I think in a normal list, you usually have for every 3 warriors or grunts that you take, you can then take 1 spellcaster, 1 support model, and 1 large model. But in a small game, we only have to take 2 warriors, and we're only allowed to take really 1 spellcaster, 1 support, and 1 brute if you can fit them in. And you have the choice of taking a commander, but you don't have to in a smaller game. So for me, I've taken 1 support, which is a scurrier, basically like a knife thrower, a bit more expensive than the normal warriors. So he's going to be my one particular ranged unit in the in this warband. Then I've got a Ratkin brute, who is basically like rat ogre kind of thing, like your big troll type model, I suppose. I've also, one thing to take you through, we've got the cards for them, which you can buy separately. You can give upgrade items to each fighter if you wish. Grunts can only have 1 common item, I believe, and that's it, whereas most of the fighters can take up to 2 items. You can take multiples of common items across the warband, but you can't take multiple rare items, which makes sense. I think here the brute I've upgraded with buckler, which improves his armor slightly, and then also given him a lucky charm, which is like a once per game thing where you get to re-roll a dice. And then I've given the support model scurrier.
It's good for those spare points.
Yes, yeah, the odd points. See, basically I had 5 points spare. Couldn't fit in another model, so I used those 5 points to fit on these items, basically. Sheaf of arrows I've given to the support model, which is just, once again, helps with his ranged attacks, really, and that's that, to be honest. But then, Al, let's go into your Northern Alliance warband. We wanted to equal up the number of models. Obviously, like we said, you would usually only be able to take 1 large model, but Al can take 2, because that's his faction special, kind of faction-wide rule. What we're looking at for Northern Alliance here, Al, they look awesome.
Okay, we've got 2 human clansmen, and I've equipped them with spears, which basically means that if they're within 2 inches of each other, 1 attacks, they get an extra dice, so they kind of support each other.
Okay, cool.
We've got a little dwarf clansman there, and I've paid an extra point to equip him with a frost hammer, which is a mighty 2-handed hammer.
Nice.
Which it slightly improves his attack, but it also knocks 1 off his armor because he doesn't have room for a big shield.
Right, yeah, because he's like, two-handed.
So it's sort of it's risk and reward with him. He's got extra attack, but he's more vulnerable. We have a snow troll
on the left there, yeah.
And we have a Frostfang cavalry rider.
Who's awesome.
Who is awesome.
Okay, so as we said before, table setup is as follows. The mission type will take you through in just a second, but I'm just going to quickly take you through what you kind of need to play the game Kings of War Vanguard, since this is a watch and learn. Like I say, terrain, mat is 3x3. You can find, this is from playmats.eu guys, so you can check that out there. They do nice double-sided mats for a good price, so worth going and checking them out over there. The link will be in the description for those. Otherwise, the game is based on D8 dice, so you can get these obviously anywhere really. You don't particularly need different colours, I don't believe, for the D8s, but if you want something like Al's done, his specific
nice
theme
frosty
for
coloured.
that's it for his Northern Alliance. Otherwise, you can get the packs or the starter set pack with the rule book, where you get the power dice. That's so if you think about Warcry and such, where you get your initiative dice. Power dice are very kind of similar mechanic, but quite look quite fun, to be honest. Measuring devices. There's not much else to the game that you need. It's quite nice and simple. But yeah, what we'll do, we'll get into the mission we're going to do. The quest is supply grab, the first mission in the rule book. Like I say, I definitely suggest buying a copy of the actual book. Al picked up the proper book for us. Which means it's got many more scenarios in, I believe, than the actual free one online.
I think you only get like 2 in the free one.
That's it, yeah. So
I mean,
definitely
you can
worth
make
picking
up
this
your
up.
own, but
Exactly, yeah.
they look like fun missions. So.
Exactly. 5 battle rounds for Kings of War Vanguard. Always 5 battle rounds, and then I believe whoever has sort of like the initiative, I believe, rolls a dice, and then on something like a 4 up, I think it's 3 up maybe, it carries on for a round. And then the game ends after that. Otherwise, supply grab is very simple. We've got the 3 objectives. The 2 closest to us on the edges are worth 2 points each. The one in the middle is worth 3 points. You have to be in base contact with it by the end of the 5 battle rounds, and not have an enemy model within base contact of that objective to hold it. Whoever has the most points at the end of the battle wins. It might be that one of us kills the other before the end, in which case you play out till the end of that specific battle round anyway, and then the game ends, and obviously if you've annihilated your opponent, you win the game. So nice and simple. Okay then, so we'll do the first roll off and get into the game. So D8, I get a 1, that's a good start, and I'll get to 4. So Northern Alliance win the first roll off, and this is just purely for setup and deployment. So Al would technically get to choose a side, and then would have to deploy his model first, but if he wanted to, he could defer that to me, and I would choose the side and deploy my model first. Whoever deploys first and sets up first gets +1 to the first initiative roll, so worth noting. So Al is going to take the initiative. We're obviously going to stick to the sides we're already set up, and it's just easier for us. But then that means that Al will deploy his model first, followed by me. Okay then, so deployment complete. For a 5v5, this table seems very big. I think it's funny. But I mean, even in normal games, there won't be too many more models. So interesting though, we've got the Ratkin Brute, we've got my Scurrier Knife Thrower, we've got 2 warriors on that side, 2 warriors on that side for me. For Al over this side, we've got the Troll in the middle, yeah?
The Clansman, Dwarf in the middle, and 2 humans next to him, and my Frostfang cavalry over there.
Nice. Okay, then let's get into a roll-off Al. So single D8 each, using my red. 7 for me, and a 5 for Al. So, and that was actually a 6 for Al, sorry, because you finished deploying first. But I still just about beat it. We'll do some power dice here. You get different levels of power dice. You can see here you got the swords on them, so like the blue and the white I think are stronger, I believe, than the reds. Because the red dice, your generic dice, you start with 3 red dice, I believe, and then you add on depending on what your different models bring you for bonuses. So in R2 Warband's case, I didn't know this for Al, but my Warband gives me +1 red dice for power, so I'm on 4 red dice to start rolling with. If my Brute went down during the game, I'd lose that, and I'd be 3 dice per turn for power. None of my other models give bonuses. Commanders usually give you an extra blue dice, but we're not using them this battle. And I think they also allow you to re-roll a single dice in your power after you've rolled it.
Some support units like spellcasters and stuff can add dice in as well.
That's it, yeah. So Owls do not give him any bonuses for the modelers he's chosen this battle. So I'm just going to roll my power first, since I've got initiative.
There's only a bunch of rats.
So with my bonus red for the Brute, I get 3 power and a blank. Not too bad. So I will put that on a dice on my side. Al gets 3, so he can roll those now, see what he gets. 3 dice. He gets
2.
2 power. Okay, so for my bonus dice, I suppose that came out probably what you'd expect, really. But we'll get into the first round now. I have initiative with the Ratkin, so we'll activate my first model for battle round 1. Okay then, so first thing we'll get into here, 2 actions per model, very similar to kind of like Warcry, I suppose you could say. There are many different actions you can cover for each model, so we'll not go into all of them right now. But melee attack, ranged attack, you can only do one of each action, an activation. You can't do the same action twice in a row with the same activation. That's one important thing to note. You can also spend things like power and things like that, or you can fatigue yourself, which we'll get into later, to force a bonus action. So a third action, which you can do a short action. So there are also different types of actions. There are short actions and long actions. Short actions, you only use one of your 2. A long action uses both actions, and you basically do that long action. But as we use the actions as the game goes on, you'll see what you're able to do. Obviously simple moves, you can run, which is a long action using both actions to move twice. And if at the end of a run you're in base contact with an enemy model, it counts as a charge and you get a free melee action. We're going to start pushing up some of my squishier models, and I've got 6 movement with these, so I'm just going to move up with a warrior, and he's ignoring the objective, remember. Objective, you ignore them other than for movement purposes and ranged attacks, things like that. You just count them for in base contact when you're actually scoring them at the end of the game. So double move for my warrior, that's him done. So you're activating the troll, double move once again, and just pushing forwards to the edge there, and that's the troll done. Just to point out, we also have a sheet of counters for all of the different things after different activations and actions and whatnot. Fatigue counters, activated counters. So you've put activated tokens on now. If you've got generic ones, you could just use generic ones, but they do come with the...
They come in the terrain crate.
Yeah. In which come with the, like I say, the objective terrain, things like that. We'll get on to the next Ratkin warrior activating, and it's going to be probably for me just another warrior pushing forward here, and we'll go double move, and in fact we'll probably just push him and touch the edge of that objective there. Human clansman, yeah? You're going to activate?
Yeah.
Push forwards.
And as you move, because facing is important in this,
so you can turn as much as you want.
You can twist and turn however you like.
You want to be careful how you end your facing.
Yeah.
Because coming up the rear of a model can definitely make a difference in this game. It gives you lots of bonuses if you attack somebody from the rear. So there we go, moving them up. Okay then, so a little demonstration on how fatiguing works. So I'm going to double move my Ratkin Scurrier, who's my ranged model. He's going to double move for 12 inches, which brings him just up to there, and he's got a straight shot straight on into the clansman.
Human clansman.
So he's gonna actually end just there, because then that step ain't going to affect his shooting. Hopefully we've got a straight line of sight there through the past the base of the troll, but we'll check that. So just to take you through ranged attacks, similar in a way to melee attacks as well. I have a 9-inch range throwing knife, which is 2d8. And essentially it's very simple, similar to Warcry, it's just one roll really, but then you have armor saves as well. So it's all about the base, about that base, no trouble. So you've got, so long as there is not even a slightest bit of base in the way of the range of your model. So you have an arc, so essentially if you put a ruler, that is your front arc in front of that ruler there. If you do the same behind your model, that is your rear arc. So if the whole of somebody's base is behind your model, with this behind this ruler here, then they'd be in your rear arc. In this case, I'm in Al's front arc there. He is within range, my 9-inch range. Not even a part of I've leveled myself up so that not even a part, I don't believe, of the troll's base there should be in the way, which means that I get +1 die to my ranged roll, so I get 3d8 instead of 2d8. So basically, the way cover works for ranged attacks, if any part of the model you're shooting at is obscured by terrain or an enemy model's base, then you don't get a bonus die, and it's literally how simple it is. But in this case, straight on shot for me, so it's just going to be a bonus die for 3d8, and we'll check my special rules to make sure I don't gain anything else. I forgot that he has Scout special rule, which would have been cool to show you guys, which essentially means after all models are deployed on the table at the start of the game, he can actually deploy kind of hiding in terrain further up the board. So we'll have to try that out next time, so unfortunate that I forgot, but he seems to be doing alright right now, so he's going to throw knives at the clansman. Once again, like I say, 3d8, because there's no nothing blocked there for me. I tell you what, we've got so many points that obviously I'm fatiguing myself to do this for a third action, because you can do that for free, so I'm not using a power to do this, because I haven't used the ranged action yet. I just made a run for a long move and then force fatigue myself to throw a knife at Al for a ranged attack. So I am fatigued, but I can hopefully sort that out in the end phase. I will, however, spend a power here. So I'll spend one of my forward power, 3 power to go down to 2, and gain a bonus d8 dice to shoot at Al. So one of the power you can spend is just to give yourself a bonus dice to armor saves, etc, etc, to add to your attack. So 4 dice instead of 2 due to those bonuses. And you want to look at your ranged stat, so let's get out my rules here for the Ratkin actually. So if you look here, I printed off the rules for the Scurrier. His RA is 4+, which is really good, 50-50 chance here. 4 pluses will hit for me. I can re-roll 1s because I have the special rule Marksman. I get 2 1s.
Exploding 8.
And an exploding 8. We'll take you through that. Oh, we're all hitting most of them. Exploding 8 means that I get a bonus dice as well as the one I had, so I'll re-roll that 3 because it's a miss. And I get a 4+ there. So, and one important thing to note about exploding 8s, they're awesome in Kings of War. You can keep exploding 8s. So if you keep re-rolling dice, you can keep going, keep exploding dice. It's awesome. So that's 4 hits. There's no armor penetration on that, Al. So it's just your normal armor save. So 4 armor saves. I don't know what your armor is for a grunt. So 4 5-ups for the poor grunt.
I think I'm going to spend one of my power and add a dice to that.
Try and make
That's one of the things that you can do.
Yeah, so another thing you can do, add another dice to your armor save. So Al needs to make 4 saves, but he's got 5 dice to do it, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. So slightly better chance. You need 4 5-ups here, Al.
Yeah.
However,
it's unlikely, but we'll see.
Why not? Might as well use that power. You were close. You were 2 off. And you've only got 1 wound, right? So you've gone down to 0.
The nice thing about the exploding 8s is they also work on armed defense. But
indeed they do.
Didn't get one.
Okay, so one other important thing to note. Grunts in the game, usually what you do after killing something or taking a model down to 0 or minus wounds, which is important to note, that you take them down to 0, and usually similar to like Kill Team in a way, but kind of simpler I think, you roll a nerve test to see if they then go out of action or if they just get knocked down, get knocked prone. But in this case, I believe a grunt just gets removed straight up because they are very weak. Whereas warriors, even warriors are slightly better, they can get knocked down. So, I like how that works because it shows that some models are tougher than others. Okay, so your little dwarf running with his ice hammer. Is he double moving? Coming up towards in behind the troll, and I'm guessing he's not force activating now, fatiguing. So he's just going to move up to there. We'll go on to my next activation. We'll do the brute. He's going to double move 6, come up level with the Scurrier. So that's going to do my brute. He's not going to fatigue himself or anything for now. So it'll be on to Al's activation again. You've got 2 models left on, so do I. So the other clansman activating now. He's going to double move, I'm guessing. Pushing forward as well. Getting up just behind. They're using the troll as a conga line.
He's a little bit quicker than the dwarf there.
Yeah, moving in. Nicely done. For me, we're just going to start moving down this flank here. And I'm going to double move a warrior. Get myself just in front of the boxes there. And then I'm going to fatigue the warrior to move an extra 6 and get up into base contact with that with that objective. Obviously, it doesn't matter for now, but he's in a nice position. So you'll get a fatigue token and an activated token. Okay, so cavalry, he's moving forward, yeah?
Yeah.
He's getting down into cover there behind the building. Okay, so Al is then going to fatigue to just push around the corner.
Come around the corner, so I've got a straight.
So you've got a straight charge. Double move of 6 inches. So for a run, basically, for my Ratkin warrior again, he's going to get straight up behind there. That's him done. He's obviously not force fatiguing. I think that's everybody activated. Do you want to spend any power before we go into end phase here, Al? To force activate anything else? Or
no, I'm going to spend my last
him,
power to unfatigue this chap.
So basically what happens, guys, we go into the end phase, and one of the power abilities you can use is you can spend 1 power to de-fatigue, if you like. Take a fatigue token off one of your fighters so that they're not fatigued for the following round. If you don't do that, it means that the next activation, your fighter, if they're fatigued, can only make 1 action instead of 2, so it's quite important. I'm going to spend my last 2 power to take my 2 fatigue tokens off of the ones that have it on, so that's my Scurrier and my warrior that pushed forward there. So nobody will have a fatigue token for next round. We'll remove all other activation counters and go on to round 2. Al was the first to finish activating, I think. Which is important because for the next round he will gain initiative. We'll go into the second battle round, no objective stuff to be decided. I'll do mine again first here for power, so we still have 4 power dice because my brute's alive. What do we get? Oh, only 2 this time. Al, what do you get? You can do your roll.
I only get 3.
You only get the 3, yep. You get 3. Okay, interesting. So only 2 for the Ratkin, so we switched sides. One important thing to note as well is you can't bank power. So basically you lose it at the end of the round if you don't spend it, which is different to some games. Use it or lose it, it's all or nothing, which I do like. I like that. Forces you to kind of do big things. Okay, so the Troll's going to activate. You're going to charge. So he's going to charge straight forward, which is a long action, so essentially a run. So he's got plenty enough movement, and then at the end of that run, long action, you get a free melee action. Obviously we've got the objective there, you technically ignore it for cover and whatnot and movement, so he's on a bit of a skew, but technically he's in base contact, so that's fine. You have to have a flat base to base contact, which he will. Okay, so you naturally get 48, yeah?
I'll make it 5d8.
So you spend in 1 of your power to go down to 2. You reroll 1s because you have vicious for a special ability. Nice, in melee.
And my melee is 5. So
but I also have Buckler, guys, which was the upgrade I gave myself, which I can make Al reroll 1 single dice if I want to, so. Which, well, I probably will, definitely, but go for it. Oh, that's a...
No 8s.
What did you need to hit, sorry?
5.
5.
So I've got 3 hits.
3 hits, I'll make you re-roll the 7, because why not? What, you get an 8? Oh, I still hit, but okay, so it didn't quite work for me there, but you get 3 hits. Okay, so 3 7-ups to make for me, because Al has crushing strength, 2, which means minus 2 AP, essentially, armor penetration. So my save goes from 5 up to a 7-up. And that's it really. I'm not going to buff myself in any way for any power, so just 3 7-ups. Oh, I make 1! Woo! So and I no exploding 8s, no 1s either, so 2 fails, I go down to 3 wounds remaining, and when I activate him he'll heal 1 anyway, hopefully, so possibly on a roll. Okay, so you're going to spend a power, Al, then to activate the troll again, and if you use the power to forced fatigue rather than normal fatigue, you can do an action that you've already done this round, activation. If you do a normal fatigue to get a fatigue token, that doesn't work. You can't do an action you've already done. But because Al's force fatiguing by spending a power instead, he'll still get a fatigue token, but he can do an action he's already done. So only 4 this time for you, though, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's on 5s.
Yep.
Oh, no
re-rolling 1s.
Oh, re-rolling 1s, I forgot that.
So Al got 1 5-up before he re-rolled that.
Serve you right if I got an 8.
Yeah, so I'm going to force him to re-roll the 5-up, which he got a 2.
Damn.
That worked perfectly.
Miss.
My brute has the rule, the Buckler upgrade, remember guys, the armour, which allows me to force Al to re-roll a dice, so pretty nice, I'll take it. After any attack, you can choose with the model that got attacked, the target that got attacked, if you wish to retaliate. You can retaliate up to twice in a round with a single model. If you retaliate, essentially you just get to attack back. and then you gain a fatigue token, which means you can only make one action or one short action in your next activation. But in this case, I'm going to retaliate back for an attack. In my Brute's case, he's got 5d8 for his attacks, with Crushing Strength 2, just like Al's Troll. But then I also have Pound, so if I cause 3 or more wounds to Al, he gets knocked down no matter what, even if he hasn't gone down to 0 wounds for a nerve test. So here we go, we'll do 5d8. Do I want to spend a power for another d8?
Nah.
Okay, so just the 5d8 for me for now. 5 ups needed. Ooh, that is not good. I only got 1. That is poor. So your armor goes from 4 to 6 because minus 2 AP, so armor penetration. So 1 save. Oh, an 8! Oh, you made it. No need for the bonus die in the end. Smashed it. Always save on an 8, and always fail on a 1. Unless you can re-roll either, so... Oh, that was not good from my Brute. However, it is now my activation. I do get a fatigue token for my Brute as well. Okay then, so the Brute will then activate for his 1 action that he gets. However, he has a special rule for regenerate, so whenever he activates at the beginning of his activation, he can roll a dice, and on a 6 up, he regenerates a wound. Yes, we got a 6. Boom.
So that becomes 2 wounds instead.
It becomes only 1 wound, so he's got
it's-
2 wounds, so he's only got 1 wound now.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's regenerated a wound, and then he will use his 1 action to attack the troll again here for a normal attack. 5 dice again here, and let's see what we can do. I think we're not going to spend any power still here. I'm going to be doing that in a moment. So once again, it's going to be 5 ups. Oh, we have an 8. I missed 2, scored 3, but I got an 8 for an exploding, so I re-roll 1. Oh, another 8!
one.
We keep going. Oh my god! Oh, another hit.
Oh,
So
it's
that is okay. Okay, so I did knock the 4 into from a 5 earlier. So that is how many hits I got, guys. We kept exploding. It's minus 2 APL, so it's not looking good for you. I don't know if you need to spend that power or not. That is 6 hits overall that you need to save here. 6 ups for you, unless you want to get a spend for a bonus dice. So you are going to spend your last power, get a bonus dice, so you need 7 dice
I've got
now.
7 dice.
Okay, so go for it. You need
I'm
6s
looking
here.
for 6s.
With my Crushing Strength 2, yeah.
Come on, 8s.
Yeah, you need some 8s here. You get
Ooh.
3 8s! Oh, what a boss. So you need to get 3 more dice in there. You failed not many. How many did you fail? 2. Oh, wow. So you only failed 2. And you can quite easily pass those now. You got 3 more dice to roll with those exploding 8s. Oh,
And
failed
another
2. So yeah, you passed it. You managed to pass it. And that is what exploding 8s do.
Whoopee.
So sometimes, looking at it, more damage doesn't necessarily do you any good, maybe, but who knows. But I'm going to spend a power to chain activate and activate another one of my models in a row.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay then, so I spent a point to go down to 1, and 1 power to chain activate. My Scurrier will now go, and he's going to make a ranged attack for his action into the Clansman. There is no base in the way, no cover in the way, so I get +1 dice for 3d8, which is nice. And re-rolling 1s for Marksman. And exploding 8. Okay. Yep, he's 4 up for range, so even the exploding 8 worked. So that's 4 saves for L, no penetration of any kind. So it's just straight on to see what you can do here, Al.
My armor is 5 up.
Okay.
4 of them, you say?
Yep. No, he's that's at least 1 wound there.
Yeah.
No 8s either. So
He's toast.
He came close, but 1 wound only needed for the Clansman. No rolls needed for nerve tests, which we haven't actually come across yet. But he's done for. Grunt goes straight down. Can't be knocked down. He just goes straight out of action. So Scurrier has 1 more action, but he can't use a ranged attack again here. So 1 action left for the Scurrier. The Dwarf is slow, so I'm quite happy to move back. We'll get into base contact with the fence so that I can actually just benefit from the cover, I guess. And he'll quite happily sit there and the dwarf will not be able to probably make a charge now this round. So onto your activation, Al.
I'll keep it simple, I think.
Cavalry.
And just go...
Charge action. Straight up into him. And if you kill him, you get a bonus 3-inch move as well, so you can move straight into the other one. Also, one thing we forgot to think earlier on, guys, with the troll when he made his charge move, if you make a charge move and then get your free melee action, so remember that's a run action for 2 moves and then a free melee action. With a charge melee action, you get a bonus dice, which I think we missed out earlier for him, we forgot that. In this case, we'll remember it this time, so Al will get a bonus die for the charge.
So, his base is 3d8.
Yeah.
He'll get a bonus dice for charge, and he'll get a bonus dice for special weight cavalry.
So Al is bigger height than the model he's attacking, therefore gets a bonus dice because he's cavalry, makes sense. So now you're on 5 dice, 5d8s, going into that front Ratkin warrior.
Looking for 4s.
Yep. And you get an exploding 8 though. Reroll that 1, I guess.
Get these out.
Yeah, get those out of the way so you know. Oh, 1 again. So
just 2.
Just the 2 there.
So it's your save.
And do you have any crushing strength, etc.?
I do. Crushing strength 3.
Oh my god! So that's 3 armor penetration for them. Okay, so yeah, Ratkin warrior, 2 d8s to make. He's got to make 8s here. No, neither is an 8, so not even exploding. So down, technically you have to knock him now, so you got 2 hits on him. He's only got 1 health, I believe. Oh no, they got 2 wounds each. So he goes down to 0 wounds, and now we need to do what none of you have seen yet, because he's a warrior, not a grunt. So technically we have to take a nerve test roll now, and see if he either gets knocked down or removed from the table. So my nerve stat for the Ratkin warrior is 6+. You have to equal or get better than the roll. Essentially, Al only got 2 damage, I got 2 wounds, so that takes me down to 0. If he had 3 damage, it would be -1 wounds that I'd be on, which means that I get a -1 modifier to this roll. However much more damage you get than that would then continue to give you negative modifiers to the roll. But for now, there's 0 modifiers. It's a 6-up roll. Oh, I got 8! And just for the funsies, I got exploding 8. Oh, I keep getting exploding 8s! There we go. But you definitely passed it, which is awesome. You only have to make 1 roll. I get knocked down instead of getting removed from the table. And the way knockdown works, folks, you can either tilt the model on its side, or in our case, we've got counters that we can put on the model to say they're knocked down. Ratkin warrior on the right hand side now is going to activate for me. The cavalry is done for L, fully activated. I am knocked down. But I'm going to go over this side and we're going to make a 12-inch charge, so double move and free melee action, remember, and I get that +1 dice as well. So we'll charge straight into the edge of the troll.
Look at him next.
Bonus dice, I know. I have to get a close up on this. He's pretty different, big difference in size there. So, hey, David versus Goliath. So I get 2d8 normally, 3d8 due to the charge. Getting a bonus dice, and I need 5s here. Looking for those 8s. I need to re-roll that one anyway because it went off. I got an 8. I've got 2 hits and an 8, so it means I'll re-roll that 4 because I need 5 ups here. And I got a 1, so it doesn't matter. So basically I got 2 hits, no armor penetration of any kind, so just 2 saves on the troll.
My armor is 4 up.
Yeah. Oh, no. Failed both. So what we're doing now, the dwarf.
Yeah.
Charge. There we go. Has to be the closest distance you can go. So unfortunately with the charge you cannot get to my rear arc, but close, it was close. So into my side, and it's just +1 dice for charge, and you've got your ice hammer, remember?
Yeah. 2 dice.
Okay.
And I'm hitting on
So what would
5.
you charged as well, remember? So you get +1 dice.
Plus
yeah.
1 dice.
So 3d8 instead of 2 for the charge, and go for it. Ooh, 2 exploding 8s. What do you usually need? 5s.
5s.
So you can re-roll 2 dice, or re-roll that 2 and another dice because of the exploding 8s. Oh my god, 4 hits. And -1 armor penetration for the crushing strength from the ice.
Frost hammer.
Frost hammer, that's it. Would usually be a 5 up. They go to a 6 up now for my warrior, and he's got 2 wounds though. Oh, that's really poor. He's definitely down, and he takes 4 as well, 4 damage. So he goes down to 0 and then -2 for the extra 2 damage. So basically my nerve test roll is going to go from a 6 up to an 8 needed, I think. So that's not good. Okay then, so I need an 8 here to pass this nerve test to get knocked down instead of out of action.
Oh, so close.
Oh man, it was close. So one more save earlier on and he would have been alright, but he does go down, he gets completely removed from play. And you can, if you wish to, you don't have to, make a 3-inch bonus move into your opponent. Nice. One thing we forgot there as well, I think, just to point out to the learners watching the game, I think I would have got another bonus dice there for outnumbering my my rat warrior, because you had your troll and your dwarf in against him. So another thing to bear in mind later on, I reckon. Okay then, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to activate one of my other Ratkin warriors. He's going to stand up. He's not counting as engaged right now, so I want to stand him up for an action, and then I'll melee attack the cavalry model. Okay then, so 2d8 from the Ratkin warrior. Let's see what we can get. Needing 5s, I believe. So getting 1 hit, no armor penetration. So cavalry model just gets 1 save. 3 up armor save then for the cavalry model. Go for it. Should be getting this.
Nice.
Oh, just.
Okay,
so that is him done. You've done all your activations, Al, I believe.
Yep.
And spent all your power. So just carry on with my models. I will now make the charge with the Ratkin warrior there. Double move and free melee attack. So I'll go into the side of you there. And that now means I get a free melee attack with plus 2 dice because I stood up my other Ratkin warrior, which means I now outnumber the cavalry model that Al has, and I get plus 1 dice for the charge, so plus 2 dice overall. So 4d8s now for the charge and outnumbering. We need 5s again. And we only get 2 hits, no exploding 8s, so 2 more saves to make on a 3 up for the cavalry model. Oh, fails 1. So that's 1 wound caused. So the only one left for me is the Ratkin warrior. He's just going to creep onto the other side of this, just so that he's got the right facing, so that you can't come up behind me yet, just for later on. So he's going to stay on that objective. Then that is the end of the round, I believe, guys. I'm going to spend my last power to unfatigue my brute. And that I don't believe Al has the power left to stop his fatigue on his trolls.
All I'm going to do is I'm going to exchange his... He's got a combined token for activated and fatigued. I'm just going to replace that with fatigued.
Okay, and we'll remove the rest of the tokens and go on to Al finished activating first again, so he'll have initiative next round for battle round 3. Power dice for round 3, we're ready to go. See what we get. We still get 4 dice for the Ratkin. That's a bit better. 3 again this round. Al, you get 3 dice. Oh, only 2. So 3 to Ratkin and 2 for the Northern Alliance. Okay, so a bit better for the Ratkin again this round, but Al does have initiative still for battle round 3.
Well, I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that the troll has 2 wounds on him.
Okay.
And I don't want him to get sort of jumped and taken down. So
does he have the bandages?
He has bandages and he has regeneration.
Well, regenerate you can do anyway for free. So 6 up for that, I think, depending on what it says on his card. So just say regenerate and then a number.
It just says regenerate 6 up.
Yep. So 6 up to regenerate.
No.
You do.
Oh yeah, 6.
Yep. So you heal a wound like I did.
For some reason I was thinking I needed below that.
So you go from 2 to 1 wounds. So then he's also going to use his bandages.
I'm going to discard my bandages.
Doesn't take an action. You just do it for free during your activation. But on a 4 up, you gain another wound and you'll be full health. And you do. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're back to full health. And so, that's that.
He's clear.
So you're going to melee, yeah? Into my ogre, you get plus 1 dice for outnumbering me. But no plus 1 for charge, because obviously it's just melee this round.
So I'm normally 4d8, so I'll go up to 5d8. And I'm hitting on 5s.
Yep, I can force you to re-roll 1 of them. Yeah, I know, that's quite handy, that is.
But there aren't any.
So how many, what do you need, sorry?
5s. So
5s, re-rolling 1s.
1.
So you're re-rolling the 1 for vicious, is what the troll has, gets it. So is it 5 ups, did you say?
Yes.
So you missed the 2. I will force you to re-roll 1 of the 7s, because I can. Okay, so you got a 7 anyway, so you get 4 hits. Crushing strength of 2, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend a power point to get a bonus die for the save.
the armor save, which I'll go down to 2 power if I can find it. There we go. Down to 2 power, bonus die. See if we can get some 8s as well. Oh, that's a poor roll. I need 7s. Oh, I got 2 7s. That's not actually that bad, to be fair. Took 3 wounds. I've got 5 in total. I've already had a wound damage, so I'm on 1 wound remaining. I was 1 short of completely going down to 0 there, so I'm happy about that. Okay, interesting. So Al remembered that his troll was fatigued, which I forgot to mention before I activated, which means he only gets 1 action. So 1 melee action, and you can't even spend a power for force fatigue on a model that has already fatigued this or has a fatigue token. So it'll be on to my activation, and you know who's going next. Okay then, so activating the Brute, he gets regeneration on a 6+ as well. No, not quite, not quite. So he still will be on 4 wounds, so he's only got 1 wound left. But I will get to activate, and I'm not fatigued. I will attack the Dwarf here. So I need 5s here with the Rat Ogre, or should I say the Brute. And we get no exploding 8s, but I do get 3 hits there. That's pretty good.
It's normally 5, but because he has a frost hammer,
alright,
it becomes 6.
It's worse. So you need 8s here.
So I'm now looking
so
at 8.
technically -3. So the frost hammer, guys, means it's a dual-handed weapon, so he can't protect himself. So he gets
he
-1.
hits harder, but he's more vulnerable.
Susceptible, yeah. So go for it. So you need 8s here.
Nope.
No 8s. That is also, you've only got 1 wound, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
So that's -2 to your nerve test here to try and keep him on. Oh no, he's a grunt.
Oh no, he's a grunt.
He's a grunt, yeah, dwarf's a grunt. So
there.
yeah, the grunt goes straight down. Good work, Brute. I'm going to take my chances and try and hurt the troll here. The Brute will spend a power, fatigue himself, and do an extra melee action. Because remember, guys, if you do a force fatigue, you can do an action you've already done in the after the activation if you've already done it. So 5 d8s, no bonuses here. Just 5 ups, I believe. With crushing strength 2. We get a exploding 8, and I've got all hits so far. Oh, that is 5 hits at crushing strength 2.
A point.
So you're going to spend a point and another die?
Add another dice. So I'll get 6
dice.
defense dice.
Okay, and then
But
you're going to...
I am needing 6s.
yeah, due to that crushing strength. Oh, that is an exceptional roll. You got 4 saves, wow.
1, 2,
yeah, so you failed 2. So, cavalry model, you're going to go straight into my injured, he's only on 1 wound remaining, Ratkin warrior. So go for it. You got your 4d8 because you're cavalry instead of 3d8. Exploding, so you can re-roll that 1. So a 6. What are you hitting on here? 5s, I think. So you only get 4s, so you get 3 hits.
3 hits.
And then I get my 3
-2.
saves. -2. Yep, so I've got 3d8s to make here on 8s. Because it's -3 armor penetration, I've got a 5 up save normally. Let's see if we can keep exploding. No. So I only make 1, which means 2 go through. I've got 1 wound, down to 0, down to -1. Nerve test on a 6 up, is it usually? I have nerve of 6+, which goes to a 7+ for the minus. So here we go, 7 up. Didn't make it. So unfortunately, this time he gets removed and he goes down. Ratkin warrior will now activate for me then, I guess, and he will... I think he's going to make a breakaway action, so I can show you guys how that works. So breakaway action is a long action, which we haven't used yet. And essentially you just make a normal walkaway move action with the breakaway. But what you have to do is, if you're breaking away from a normal sized model, you have to make an armor roll. For each armor roll you fail, you lose a wound. But then in this situation, Al has a large model engaged with me, and for large models, when you break away from them, you have to make 2 armor rolls. So I have to make 2 5-ups here, and if I make 1 of them, I'll be fine because I have 2 wounds with the warrior. Here we go. Oh no! That is not what I want to see. I lost 2 wounds, and now I have to take a nerve test. So yeah, unfortunately, a bad example of how a breakaway should work, because now I don't get to run away, I have to stay stuck in with the... basically, he's been biting at me, the cavalry model, to stop me running away. He's pinned me down, and now I've got to see if I get knocked down or removed from the table. I have a, I want to say a
6 up as well, which is not ideal. 6 up is needed. Yay! There we go, and he is now classed as knocked down, so he's going to have to stand up next turn. He's made a long action there as well, so he can't stand up this activation. We'll have to wait till next round. Okay then, so for the Scurrier, he's got 6-inch move. He's going to double move. If you go over any low-lying obstacle, guys, it's 2 inches to get clamber over it, basically. So I'll spend 2 to get over. That leaves me with 10 more inches movement. So he's quite happy jumping up behind there and getting into the rear arc of that cavalry model for next round. So that should be pretty interesting, getting up the rear, and it's going to now be into a round 4 roll off. Any power to be spent by anybody?
I'm going to remove the
Fatigue counter from your troll. I had to spend mine in the end on the stupid rat warrior that couldn't pass his test. So unfortunately, my brute will remain fatigued for next round.
His activation fatigued for a fatigue.
And obviously, my Ratkin warrior there will still be led down on his backside. So, okay. But other than that, it is going to be into round 4. We're 2 rounds off the end here, end game. But otherwise, we'll roll off for power again here. Al also finished activating first, so therefore, once again, he will have initiative. My brute is still alive, so still 4 power dice for me. And we finally get a 4 with our 4 power dice, so 4 power for me this round, nasty stuff. Al only has 3 power dice, and he gets 3, still not bad though. So you can activate the troll, yeah.
So I'm going to make his regeneration roll.
Yeah.
On 6 up. No.
So he remains on 2 wounds, 2 damage.
I thump
the brute, yeah.
Your guy.
Spending any power on that. So you'd usually be 4 dice, I think?
Yep, 4 dice. I'm going to spend 1 power.
And get +1 dice, yeah?
Get +1 dice.
Okay, go for it. So you need...
And I'm needing 5s.
Okay. Rerolling 1s, remember, for vicious. So rerolling the 2 1s you've got, wow. It's good, that. Okay, so you still only get 3 hits there.
Yep.
No exploding 8s. So I'll have 3 hits. I'm going to make him re-roll one of the hits because I have my buckler still armor on the brute. Oh man!
Oh dear!
That's what can happen though. Okay, so you still only got the 1 hit. So 3 hits in total still. And I will have 3 armor saves of a 7 up due to crushing strength 2. So I need 7 ups here though. 3 7 ups to make, and we don't even get 1. So I'm glad I didn't spend power on that. That's also takes me down to 0, and then 2 beyond that, so that's -2 to my roll. I need an 8 on the nerve test here to not go out of action. Oh, he's knocked down, so you'll still get to activate. Loving it, loving it. So that would be me saved for the moment, but then Al's going to...
He's got his bloodlust up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend a point and force him.
Okay. He will get +1 modifier to his rolls for attacking a knockdown model. And when you attack a knockdown model, it's classified as attacking a model as if you were attacking them from the rear arc, which basically just increases your crushing strength value by 1.
Which is equivalent to
2
armor
to 3.
piercing,
Yeah. So your armor penetration goes to 3 instead of 2, and you got +1 modifier. I'm not liking my chances.
I'll spend my last point and
make it 5. Okay, just to take him out. And you need 4s because you got +1. So re-rolling that 1 because you've got
vicious.
Okay, so you still missed that. No exploding 8s, so 4 hits. Okay, so this is going to be 8s for me needed. And he's definitely going to be gone. No need for a roll this time because I'm already knocked down. That's the other thing that happens. So just like if you were a grunt, if you're already knocked down, there's no need for a knockdown roll. You just get automatically removed, and down goes the... finally, that big battle in the middle, that's lasted 4 rounds, that. And down he goes. The troll gets to make a 3-inch move in his front half. So yeah, getting him off the awkward slant on top of the objective and just keeping him in base contact with it to help claim it.
Standing in the centre of the battlefield going,
Indeed he is. So Scurry is going to activate here. He's actually going to make moves back over this direction. He's going to go 6 inches and literally round these barrels just up behind the cover there, and he'll be in base contact, which means it'll just shoot straight over it. He's also in the rear arc of the troll, as you can see there, so you basically put a measure straight across the back of the base. If your model's base is entirely over that line behind him, then it's rear arc. So yeah, just to point this out, guys, because I've questioned it as well. If you move into base contact with a low line cover, your height is more, then you can just shoot straight over the cover there, which is why I've moved into base contact. I'm in rear arc, so I get +1 piercing, which is the same as the combat arm penetration one, but for shooting. So I'm +1 die for clear line of sight. I'm going to spend a power to go down to 3 because I've got so much power, and go to 4d8, and this is going to be on 4s as well. It's really good at shooting. Okay, no explodings, but we miss one hit with 3, and that has armor piercing 1.
5 up.
5 up save for the troll. He makes 2 exploding 8 to reroll that 4. Oh my god, makes them all anyway. And then I'm going to have to spend a power here to force activate. So I'm going to go down to 2 to force fatigue him, and make another ranged action because I can use the same action again. He's moved, used the range action, and now he's going to force fatigue to use another. And I think I'm going to also spend another power there to once again add a bonus dice. So it's clear range again, and I'm going to add another dice for a power. So this is 4 shots again on 4s, re-rolling 1s, and I got an exploding 8. Oh no, I got another 1, but I can re-roll that because I get an extra dice because of the exploding 8. Which was a 2, man, some bad rolling there. So, but I still got 3 hits again. 5 ups for you, Al. Which not so good that time. Only 1. So you suffer another 2 damage. You're on 4 damage now, I believe. So only 1 wound remaining there for the troll. Okay, so the cavalry model's just going to smack my Ratkin warrior. He is on the floor, remember, so counts as rear arc. So you're +2 dice, actually. You've got Bloodlust, which if your opponent's already wounded, you get +1 dice, because you have the Bloodlust. And then you're cavalry and bigger than me, so you get +1 dice for that. And you're +1 to the whole roll, because of me being on the ground, so go for it.
So I'm hitting on 3s.
Yep.
Jeez.
Well, it should be an easy eat, an easy meal. Oh wow, 3 exploding 8s as well. So 3 more dice to roll, technically, but I'm going to be saving on 8s anyway.
Hitting on 3s.
Yeah. So missing 1. So how many is that? 7. So I'm going to take 6. No 8s at all in that. I go straight out of action because I'm already on the ground. So I wasn't expecting much from that. So, but you can now make a 3-inch push front arc if you want to, which will be straight into the objective. And then you technically have 1 action left, but I don't think there's really much you can do there.
He's just going to hang out.
Unless you wanted to make another move, technically.
He's going to start counting his money.
Okay, so he's going to stay put there then.
I mean, wait, actually, I will turn.
Yeah.
Because you can do that for a movement, so
Yeah.
I will turn.
Okay, so you're going to turn.
You were going to let me do that, weren't you?
I'm not going to up with everything. So there he goes. He's turned round. That's how you learn. So you managed to remember to spin him round, because otherwise, if I shot you from the rear arc,
I'm not used to games where facing is so important.
I know it's a big deal for this game, to be fair. Okay then, so that is the end of that round. We're going into the 5th and final battle round now. Scurrio is fully activated. Considered making a move with the Ratkin warrior over there, but he's going to stay on his objective. He's quite happy doing that. I think I don't want to be risking him. So what we're going to do is power for the last battle round here. Alan once again finished activating first. Okay then, so that is the end of that round. Going into round 5, and now for the first time we'll have to take warband morale checks. So if you go down below half the number of your starting retinue, which for Al would be if he's under 3 because he started with 5 models. For me it would be under 3 as well because I started with 6 models. So because we are both now below half, technically last round Al did have lower than half, but you only have to take nerve tests or fallback checks for models that are unengaged. Both of Al's models last round were engaged, so we didn't need to take it for them last round. But this round, however, every model is out of combat, out of engagement range, and so we'll need to take fallback checks. So end of that round, I'm going to unfatigue my scurry with my last power point. And then going into the 5th and final round, we'll do a power check. And then with the fallback checks, it's per each time a model activates, if they're not engaged, they will have to take the fallback check. So we'll have to wait and see how that works. But I believe your troll is still going to be fatigued because you don't have a power to spend to
I do not
save him. So I've got 3 power now instead of 4 because my brute is dead. I get 3 power still though.
Oh, that's good.
Al, you have 3 power still. What do you get? Oh, 2 power.
2 with him.
Okay, so activating the cavalry for Al first. He's got to go first, and you've got to take a fallback check.
Yeah, that's the first thing, isn't it?
So what's your nerve test?
My nerve is 4 up.
4 up though for the fallback.
This is clutch. This is.
Oh, it fails.
No! So now I have to run my maximum distance towards my starting position.
Indeed
that
you do.
Balls me completely.
So you run all the way, so that's 10 inches, twice your movement, directly towards your table edge. Nasty. Off you go. Okay. I wouldn't complain. Chances are my Ratkin are definitely doing the same. So you're going to chain activate Elf for a power.
It might all fall down. I've already taken the power off.
Yeah. So Troll is going to chain activate for the power, but you need to pass a check with him as well because he's unengaged. What's his nerve?
4.
So just don't roll another. You need a 4 or higher to pass.
Come on, baby.
Oh! Oh, there's something
all
there.
Gone
something
wrong.
Thematic happening here.
It's all gone wrong at the last minute.
Yeah, so he's now running
12.
12. Oh dear.
Oh,
So he's going all the way back.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, straight round to there, and then
Oh, that's it.
he's not. Well,
Bottled it.
yeah, I mean he's fatigued as well, so he can't even force activate to turn round. I will go on to my models, I guess. We'll go with the Scurrier. He needs to take a test because he's unengaged, and I'm broken. Okay, so the Scurrier will attempt to activate first. He needs a 6 up, which is worse than Owl's, but watch me do it. 4. He's running, so he runs 12 as well, back in my direction. 2 inches to get over the trough.
Everybody's
So I know, so over to there, just clambers over that and runs away. My other Ratkin warrior on the objective. Is he going to be the hero? 6 up, 3. He's running. 12 this way. And just short of the trees. He's got to get over the barrel. So there he goes. Everybody's running, and that's what happens when you're broken, I suppose. But and the only reason this didn't happen to Northern Alliance last round is purely. A lot of the reason is just purely because you were engaged, so you were in the fight still. But everybody's currently running. The Ratkin do have a special rule for their faction, which is if you're within 6 inches of other models, friendly models, you get +1 to the roll. But obviously we're nowhere near each other, so we're running. After falling back, you get an activated token, but when you've fallen back, you can actually make a fatigue action later in the round. Forced fatigue action to spend a power point to use one short action with those models, and you don't have to make a fallback check for that action. So definitely worth doing. I'm going to spend 2 power to go down to 1 and force both of my guys to move back. So he's going to make a 6-inch move that way. Ooh, close. Yeah, he's going to go for the middle one because that's the important one. Going to get himself up to there. Same for my Ratkin warrior on this side. He's going to move up and in to there, and that's him done. Al's troll is fatigued, and so he cannot spend a fatigue point, but the cavalry can if he wants to. So you're going to move over that way, not having to take fallback checks here. So there, okay, and then for the end of that round, we have to roll now to see if it carries on for one more round, a 6th battle round, or it just ends there. And if it ends there, it's a draw. purely from us unluckily falling back, which is amazing really. But for a 6th battle round and what would be final battle round to carry on the game, a 6+ does it. Al has initiative still. No, so the game ends there. Everyone was a pussy and ran away, and so both factions started to retreat due to being under their numbers, and just a crazy end to the game there really. Good fun though, very good fun. It was unfortunate not to see some points acquired at the very end really, but I suppose we just battered each other that much that, you know, we were both too scared to stay in the fight. But I'm pretty proud of my little dudes.
He's limping off with 1 wound.
He is, and
he's
fatigued.
Wounded. Everyone else is dead.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, especially this dude. He's there the whole game, sitting on that objective for me, and then at the very end, he's running away because he just hears the squeals of rats in the distance. But we really enjoyed that one. I think from you guys could probably tell. Obviously, I will have said in the intro already, but if there's anybody watching who's good with the Kings of War Vanguard rules, please point out if we've made any mistakes kindly in the comments. It's meant to be a watch and learn game, so it would be nice if you could kindly point out to any viewers if we've missed anything or anything you think is worth pointing out. There are 1 or 2 actions and things that haven't been involved in the game that we just didn't happen to use, which if you carry on watching our reports that we'll be releasing, myself and Al will be doing a 200 report next time, probably using the same factions, but we'll add in spellcasters, a commander, and more models for you to see involved. For the most part, you should have witnessed all of the core rules for the most part, which is really nice. Got a good idea of how to play the game. Hopefully some of you Warcry fans watching the channel will get involved in some Vanguard. I think that was really fun, Al.
I really like it. It moves. I mean, this was our first game. We haven't even had a practice session. So, like, you're able, on your first go, you know, with a little bit of reading the manual, to get stuck in it. And
exactly, yeah.
It feels as fast and fluid as Warcry, but you've got a lot more granularity about how you use those PowerPoints.
Yeah, PowerPoints are really flexible,
and I'm really excited for it. I think it's a really
I'm looking forward to doing a 200-point game. If any of you guys watching play Vanguard, get into contact with the channel through Facebook or email us. The information's in the description below. If you want to come and play a game, because lockdown is lifting now, we're able to come and get people in the studio to play games. So if you play Vanguard and you want to come and play a game against myself, then please do message us, get involved, and yeah, we're looking forward to the future for Vanguard. But until next time, guys, like I say, leave comments if you have any questions about rules for the game or how to get involved, etc. Until next time, guys, peace out and happy skirmishing.
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that video. Please throw a like and subscribe below, plus make sure to hit the notification bell to be reminded when new content drops. If you would like to support the channel further, you can do so via Patreon. Just hit the logo on the right hand side of the screen to visit our page. It helps with running costs, new models, terrain, and better equipment, and all importantly pays for the time we put in to keep the channel alive. Thanks so much to all our members, we wouldn't be here without you. You can also check out more of our content on screen. Otherwise, have a great day and happy skirmishing.